This is a story of Ethan, a boy who grew up with almost nothing, yet discovered that true success is not about what you own. It's about what you believe. Long ago, in a small town, lived a boy named Ethan. Life was never kind to him. His father passed away when he was just a baby, and his mother worked day and night just to keep food on the table. Ethan went to school in patched-up clothes and shoes so worn out they were barely holding together. The other kids laughed at him. They called him names, made fun of his smell, and mocked his broken shoes. Ethan never argued. He simply lowered his head, wishing he could disappear. One hot morning, on his way to school, Ethan saw a boy sitting quietly by the roadside. Unlike others, this boy didn't laugh or play. He just watched. Ethan slowed down. That's when he noticed the boy had no legs. Their eyes met. The boy looked down at Ethan's torn shoes and smiled. "Your shoes are beautiful," he said softly. Ethan froze. He looked at his ripped shoes, then at the boy's missing legs. His chest tightened. For the first time, Ethan realized something powerful. He could walk. He could run. He wasn't as poor as he thought. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Those words echoed in his mind. "Your shoes are beautiful." The next day, when his classmates mocked him again, Ethan didn't hide. He lifted his head and replied with a smile. "At least I can run. Some children can't." The laughter stopped. The boys went silent. And Ethan was never the same again. From that day, he worked harder than ever. After school, he helped his mother, studied late at night, and took small jobs, delivering newspapers, polishing shoes at the train station, saving every coin he earned. He never begged. Instead, he dreamed. One evening, while shining a pair of shoes, a man in a fine suit asked him, "Why do you work so hard instead of play like other children?" Wiping sweat from his forehead, Ethan replied, "Because I want to build a life where no one has to put others down just to feel strong." The man said nothing, but quietly placed extra money in Ethan's hand before walking away. Years passed. Ethan grew wiser, stronger, and more determined. Whenever life knocked him down, he remembered the boy with no legs, and gratitude lifted him back up. One summer, when the sun blazed and the streets were empty, Ethan proudly stood outside a tiny shop he had opened. It wasn't just a flower shop. It was a beginning of something bigger. He called it Hope Bloom, a place where flowers, books, candles, and handmade craft from struggling families filled the shelves. People mocked him again. "No one starts a business in this heat." They laughed. But Ethan stood tall, sweat dripping, hope burning in his heart. At first, customers came for flowers. Then they came for his words. Soon, the boy who once polished shoes became known as a young man who sold inspiration. Hope Bloom grew, first in his town, then in cities, then across countries. It became an online brand, and later, a global name. Ethan traveled the world, gave motivational talks, built schools, and helped street children start their own businesses. Today, Ethan wears fine suits, boards planes, and speaks on the grandest stages. He is the CEO of an international company that uplifts struggling families around the world. But in his shining office, among all the glass and steel, Ethan keeps one thing above all, a pair of old, torn shoes. When people ask why, he simply smiles and says, "These shoes remind me that success is not about where you start. It's about what you believe. Don't wait for perfect tools. Start with what you have. You may be poor, but you are not empty. You may be small, but you are not weak. Even under the burning sun, a flower can bloom, and so can you. Remember this. Success doesn't always begin with money. Sometimes it begins with one moment, one shift in how you see your life. The world may only notice the empire you build, but only you will know the truth. It all began with broken shoes. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you'd like to hear more life-changing stories, subscribe to Wisdom Stories, because sometimes just one story can change the way you see everything. Remember this. Success doesn't always start with money or perfect tools. Sometimes it begins with one simple moment that changes the way you see your life. The world may see the empire you build, but only you will know the truth. It all began with broken shoes. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. And for more inspiring stories, subscribe to Wisdom Stories, because sometimes one story is enough to change everything.